Hey photo boothers, this is Chris from photoboothtraining.com. I want to record a video for you guys about how to set up a basic Facebook ad for your photo booth business. This is going to be the simplest way that I know how, the way that's worked for me, an ad that converts well. And there's definitely more complicated ways to set up ads with Power Editor, with pixels, with custom audiences, and we can get into that through different videos. But for now, we're going to keep it really simple, really basic, and I'm going to show you guys how to set up an ad that converts well, that gets attention, and that ultimately books your calendar up for the photo booth business. And so what you're going to do is you're going to go to your photo booth business page. I'm going to use my photo booth training Facebook page as an example. And to start off, we're going to make the post because the post is going to become the ad. So the first step is to write that post. And so what are we going to put is the most important thing. We're trying to get people that are on their phones, that are on their tablets, their computers, that are on Facebook to stop scrolling through their feed, looking at their friends, looking at funny videos, to stop and notice your Facebook ad. And so I've spent considerable money testing different audiences, testing different things, and we're going to focus on engaged couples. I've tried to focus on different audiences. I've tried to focus on people of sweet 16 age, parents of those soon to be people who are sweet 16 age. I've tried, the high school prom genre, and nothing has done as well as advertising to engaged couples, because those people self-select. When they get engaged, they change their relationship status to engaged. Facebook knows that, and they're easily targetable. And people who have a wedding upcoming are more likely to spend money, are more likely to have a photo booth, and they're just much more easy to target than the other groups of people that I've found, that I've tried. And so we're gonna make a post. The way that I do it, that I found to be most effective, is to post to a piece of content. So on my photo booth website, I have a blog page, and one of the blog posts on that page is titled 4 Reasons Why Your Wedding Needs a Photo Booth. And so that's the piece of content that I used for my basic Facebook ad. And so we're gonna create a post. We're gonna drop that link into the post, and it's gonna populate already with an image it took from my website. It's gonna populate with a title and some other text down below. And so we're going to change a few things. Now, the reason that we're using content and not just going to the home page is because the goal here is to try and get someone, while they're scrolling through their feed on Facebook, looking at their friends, communicating with their friends, liking stuff, commenting on stuff, watching videos, is to get them to stop and to just be engaged with your ad, so much engaged that they're interested in what you have to say. They're interested in why your wedding needs a photo booth, and they're curious enough to click onto that content and read why it is that their wedding needs a photo booth. And so that's all we're trying to do. We're not trying to sell them. We're not trying to even necessarily have them call us right away. I simply just want them to take one action. It's a direct response ad. I want their response to be that they click off of Facebook and onto my site, and they can read why I believe that their wedding needs a photo booth. And hopefully at the end of that, they're curious enough that they'll drop their name and their email into a contact form, and I can follow up with them. And so that's the strategy. It's like we're trying to have a kitten come over to us. You don't want to do any sudden movements. We're not going to drop anything about price anywhere on this ad. I don't even do anything in the image. I'm going to change the image in a minute, but I don't want to make any sudden movements that's going to just scare people off without any explanation, without any context around my photo booth business. So I just keep it simple in that way. I keep it just content based, and I just want someone to read this blog post. That's all. That's the first step. And so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to swap out the photo. I'm going to swap out the photo for an actual photo from my booth. It's an image of a bride and groom inside my booth. So I'm going to get rid of that old one. And I'm going to let this new one be here. When I actually publish the ad, it'll populate into a full image. So don't worry that it looks small now. It's gonna be a full size image when I actually hit publish. But you want to change the photo to a bride and groom. You want people who are engaged to be able to see themselves via this photo and see themselves in the booth having a good time. Don't grab a photo of a couple who looks depressed in the booth. Make sure they're having a good time. This one works particularly well that I found because it just shows people having a good time. It's not something you see every day where you have you'll see when it populates, but it's an image of the bride with one of our props on, the boxing gloves, punching the groom in the face, pretending to punch the groom in the face. And it's just eye-catching when people are going through their feed on Facebook. It catches them because it's not something that you usually see. So that's the kind of image that you want to put in there to grab people's attention. So I'm just gonna, the title is already the way I want it. This is the big headline below the image. I'm just gonna put a period after that. And you can actually maybe even put a few dots that kind of just makes people more curious about why. So we're gonna leave the link right here. I'm just gonna press enter and move that down a little bit. And now we're just gonna write our copy. Now I found to write the copy, what works best is trying to make this look a little bit less like an ad. People know that there's tons of ads now in their newsfeed, and anything that you can do to just kind of separate yourself from the rest of the ads is helpful. So what I found, one of the things that helps do that is to put first in brackets. Brackets just stand out more. So not that bracket, but the one that just looks more boxy. And I'm just going to write first blog post. Even though it's going to say sponsored ad eventually somewhere on this when it actually gets approved, I'm going to put blog post here so it just looks more inviting. And because this is just a piece of content, it is a blog post. And so I found it helpful to kind of just put a rhetorical question calling out the people that we're advertising to. And it's important to keep it, just to keep everything as short and use as few words as possible. So what I do is, I'm in the Hudson Valley in New York, so I just write in something like this: engaged in the Hudson Valley, question mark. You can even put something like you can test different things. You could put only for those engaged in the Hudson Valley. I find it important to call out like the region, the area that you're in, so people know that this is not some kind of national ad. Even if you are a national photo booth company, you want to just break up different ads based on the region that you're advertising to. But I also find that a question works well because people tend to want to answer that question. Engaged in the Hudson Valley. So people will identify and say to themselves, yeah, I am engaged. I am in the Hudson Valley. So then I just want to put something catchy. Again, I'm not going to mention price. I'm not going to mention any features of the photo booth even. I just want to explain to them why it is that I believe that a photo booth is beneficial for them to have at their wedding. And so I just want to play on the fact that it's going to be a great time, that your guests are going to have fun, that everyone's going to walk out with a smile on their face. And so I'll just put something like this. This copy has worked well for me before. I'll use it for this example. So I'll put something like, make sure your guests look like they are at a wedding instead of at a funeral. We've never seen anyone walk out of our photo booth with less than a smile. So you can even put some more dots after that. Again, we're just playing on the fact that a photo booth is fun. You know, sometimes engaged couples are concerned about. They want to have a wedding where everybody has a great time, where their guests are having the night of their life, the time of their life. They want their wedding to be remembered for a long time after, and so we want to just let them know that a photo booth at their wedding is one way that their guests can be sure to have a great time. And another helpful point that I'll just mention is to use, it's important to use words like you and your. You could even put up here if you wanted to. It does make it a little longer, but you could put "Are you engaged in the Hudson Valley?" Because it just makes it more personal. I mean, people have studied this and showed that the more times you can use the word you, it's kind of better, but at the same time, you don't want to overdo it, because people are selfish. They think about themselves. So when you start using the word you, people respond well to that. And you could capitalize if you wanted to. You could capitalize engaged, because that will stand out to people. You can test different things. At the same time, you don't want to make it look too spammy. So I'm just going to leave it like that. But I mean, one or two capitalized words isn't going to hurt. It's just a matter of what you think would be appropriate and what works in your area. You could even put, instead of blog post, you could put something like fun couples only, or you could put engaged couples only. Again, just things that call out who you're advertising to, but I'm going to leave it as blog post. That has historically worked well for me. And you could change this down here, but what I like to do is I just leave that text as what's in the start of my blog post. It populates there. I'm just going to get rid of the star at the beginning. You only have so much space here, and so I'm going to, instead of it leaving off with just a random word at the end, I'm just going to put a few more dots, a few more periods if it will let me. Actually, maybe it won't let me. You only have so much space there, so you have to figure out where the end kind of is. I'll probably actually I'll just leave that with the period. I don't want to overdo it with the periods in a row there. So that's basically it for the actual ad copy. That's what it's going to look like. Again, calling out who your audience is. They're going to sort of answer this question to themselves when they read it. Yeah, I am engaged. I am in your local area. I am in the Hudson Valley. And they're going to read this headline, of course, and they're going to wonder why it is that their wedding is a photo booth. Maybe they've been to weddings before. There's been one. Maybe they're not convinced that they want to spend the money on one yet. But again, I just want them to click off of the Facebook ad and go onto the website, and they can read why, and they can decide whether or not they want to submit a contact form and inquire about price and about availability. So we're going to go ahead and put publish. That's going to publish to our page. And now a lot of people will just hit boost post, but I prefer to do it a different way. See, now the image is full now. The link is there, but the people that see the ad, they'll be able to click on the link, they'll be able to click on this, they'll be able to click on this, and it's all going to go to your website. Whatever link you put in there, it's going to go there. So what I'll do now is I just go back to the home of Facebook, go to the ads manager, and that's where I'm going to set up the rest of the ad from. So I'm not going to take the tour. They're always changing their ads manager constantly. I'm going to do create an ad, and I'm going to start over because I apparently left off on one before. I want to start over from scratch and show you guys how to do it. So now there's choices, and Facebook is asking me, what's your marketing objective? Now there's a lot of different choices. The one that I have historically found to work best, this is just keeping it basic, keeping it simple, is what they used to call page post engagement, but now they just refer to as engagement. So you're going to go under consideration, you're going to click on engagement. So now you've called it engagement. You can rename this to, we'll just call it photo booth simple ad. And the goal that we're putting here is not page likes, is not event responses. It's going to be highlighted as post engagement. So now we're going to go to the next step where we actually do our targeting. And so we're just going to, they're telling us again about a new feature. And so here we go. Now we're going to choose our geographic location. So I am going to put Kingston, New York. And now if you just put a zip code, it won't allow you to do the radius targeting around the city. So you want to put in the name of the city where you're based, and then you're going to select how willing, you're going to select how many miles you're willing to travel. I mean, the max is 50 for this kind of ad, so I'm going to put that at the max. It's a 50-mile radius. That's a pretty good swath. You can certainly make it less than that. And so I'm going to leave it like that for the location targeting. The age, because we're going to do a Facebook ad to engaged people only, I'm going to leave the age alone. I'm not going to touch it because people who are engaged are of all ages, and we've worked weddings for people very young and also people very old that you wouldn't think would ever be interested in a photo booth, but they did want one at their wedding. So I have found it best just not to touch that and just let Facebook do the work of finding those who have selected engaged. You can try it both ways. I leave the gender all at this point. I have previously just targeted women because women, I found, that are often the people who email or text or call about the photo booth. But at the same time, I can't say that's a blanket statement. There are plenty of men who end up asking about the photo booth. So at this point, I would recommend that you just do all, because again, we're gonna target all those who are engaged, and you're gonna find that men are tagging their fiance in the ad and vice versa. They tag each other back and forth. And so I found that gender being specified is, I think it's just better at this point just to leave it at all. It is good to put English because your ad is in English. If your ad happens to be in another language, if you're in a heavily maybe Hispanic area, you could change that and you could do a separate ad in Spanish or whatever your language might be in your area. But for me, I'm going to leave that as English. And now here's the detailed targeting for demographics, interests, or behaviors. And again, I'm just going to keep it incredibly simple. I'm just going to write engaged, and we're going to make sure that you find the one that says engaged as just the relationship status, not an interest, but just a relationship status is the one that you want. Click that, and that's all. That has really dropped down the audience around my area to 29,000 possible people, which I think is a perfect ad size. Facebook says that my audience is defined, and there's no connection types. You can save the audience if you want to. I'm not going to do that. Now what you do want to do is Facebook automatically selects automatic placements. I want to edit the placements, so you want to click that, because otherwise Facebook will put your ad everywhere, and I don't want the ad on Instagram at this point. I just want the ad on Facebook. And so that is just going to have it show up on Facebook. It's going to have it show up in the feed, instant articles, in-stream videos, or the right column. But most often I think it just appears in the Facebook feed on both mobile and desktop. And so that's how that is done. Actually, there you go. If you drop down that window there, you can take off the instant articles. You can take off the in-stream videos. I haven't experimented with that stuff at all. So I just leave it at the feed in the right column as well. So that's that. You keep going down. Now you choose your daily budget, and that's totally what you're comfortable with. I'm comfortable with spending about $10 a day on this. You choose what you're comfortable with. You can test it out, and you can even set an end date. If you just want to do it for a month, you can set the end date for a specific time, for specific dates. I just run it continuously. I change the ad copy now and then because people get tired of seeing the same image in their feed, and I'll switch it up. And that's that. Now, optimization for ad delivery. We already have post engagement. You leave that alone. The bid amount, I'm going to leave that at automatic. I believe that Facebook knows how to automatically bid best. I'm not going to try and manual bid. I just let Facebook do its thing. It has an incredible algorithm, and they know how to bid for you because they want your ad to do well, because they want you to spend more money with them. So you can change the name of the ad set if you'd like, but you can just hit continue. I don't change anything else. Hit continue. It's going to show you what the post is going to look like. Oh, this is where you are going to select what post it is that you want to use. So I did that last post that I made on my photo booth training page, and it's going to show you what posts are available to use. There it is. That's the one that I put on there. That's what it looks like. That's what the ad is going to look like on someone's desktop. And you can actually, they'll show you what it looks like on the mobile side. That's what it looks like. I think it looks nice. And that's that. So after that, you're going to put place order, and Facebook is going to, I think if this is the first time that you're doing it, there probably is going to be a little bit of a review process. They want to make sure that their ad meets their standards. But I think because I've run so many, they kind of just get approved very quickly because they know that I'm kind of running the same type of ad. And that's that. Don't get worried if you don't see much activity in the first day or even the first 2 days. Facebook, I found that takes about a good 3 to 5 days to really dial in your audience and figure out who likes your ad and who's interested in it, who's engaging with it. So don't get worried if you don't see too much activity in the first couple days. Give it a good 3 to 5 days. Let Facebook do its thing. Let them find the audience that's right. Even though you're telling them you want it to go to the engaged people in your area, it still has to find the kind of audience that really respond to your ad. So give it that 3 to 5 days, and you'll see people who have liked your ad. You'll see them dropping inquiries, filling out your contact form, calling you, texting you because they found you. They'll start tagging their fiancés in it. They'll start liking it, and there's a whole other way that you can go back through and then retarget them if they haven't inquired, but we'll get into that in another video. But for now, I think that's it. That concludes how to set up just a basic Facebook ad for your photo booth business. Keep the ad copy really simple. They say you want to make the words that you're writing like a 5th grade reading level because people just don't read all of it. They don't read it well. If it looks too complicated, they won't read it in full. Eliminate all the extra words that you can. Make sure that image is good of an actual bride and groom, and I think you're going to have success with that. I'd be curious to know what you guys think about this, and I'd love to know when you guys start having deposits come in because of your new Facebook ad. So again, this is Chris from photoboothtraining.com. If you haven't signed up, visit the site, subscribe to my newsletter, and there'll be much more to come soon. Thank you guys.